Greetings, my name is Jake. Welcome back to Fire Emblem Awakening the Critiquethrough. Let's continue where last time we began the game and got introduced to all of its many problems, including technical problems, which I hope are going to be better. I did a bit of testing. Looks like some of the things I did will help with the combat animations. It seems like the completely legitimate emulator that I'm using, that I dumped the BIOS from my actual 3DS and made a digital copy of my legitimate physical copy of Awakening. It looks like it switches from being capped at 30 to being capped at 60 frames per second, and that might be part of it. Unfortunately, the CGI cutscenes just slow down a good 30%, and that's a known issue. So that may persist. But last time we finished Chapter 1 after a prologue and a premonition, and you know what? I still don't feel like the game has really actually begun yet. But hopefully that will change as we enter Chapter 2.
Whoa. Thunderation! Oh. Ah.
Oh, Emmeryn. Emmeryn. I really don't like characters like Emmeryn. I don't like characters who are, female embodiment of everything that is pure and right, far beyond the petty concerns of everyone else, just really feel like they are alien, and sometimes they are alien. I don't like Deidre from Genealogy of the Holy War, even though that's my favorite Fire Emblem game. I really don't like Deidre and how she behaves. I don't like Julia, but that's for similar but not exactly the same reasons. I don't like Aerith from Final Fantasy VII. It just really annoys me when there's a character who's disproportionately unconcerned with, normal human problems. Emmeryn and characters like her are too perfect, they're too pure, they're too positive, and they just don't fit anything other than the most sort of juvenile setting. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, I guess there are some characters where it does kind of work. The one that comes to mind is Fluttershy from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. I actually watched a couple episodes of that, and it's not bad. I mean, it's a kid's show, and it's decent, and yeah, it's fine. Don't see what all the fuss is about. Don't know why people go that crazy about it, especially adults, but it's fine. But even Fluttershy has moments of vulnerability and weakness and flaws that come to the surface, and so it evens out in that sense. Emmeryn doesn't really have flaws. She just inherits flaws from her father, and that makes her a weaker character in my opinion, because she's just too perfect. It would have been one thing if she was secretly, suffering from the pressures of trying to carry the burdens of her father's actions and the weight of a nation on her. That would have been very humanizing, and I think she would have benefited from that. But as she's portrayed in the game now, she doesn't get that moment. She's always perfect, and even for this sort of game, it takes me out of it. And then the game has to go and treat her even worse with how she's recruitable. So she survives her noble sacrifice and becomes an amnesiac, but not an amnesiac like a wet fart. So yeah, she's handled really badly in this game, even by the game.
Huh?
Now that I think about it, it's weird that Marth is seen as like the first Exalt. He's kind of retconned into fulfilling the same role as Emmerin, where he's supposed to be a symbol of peace. And like, Marth isn't a bad person, but he very deliberately wages war to protect people, and that's not an action that Emmerin takes. And I guess you could argue that Marth has been deified in this timeline, but bit of a stretch. That's also kind of awkward because Marth is also supposed to be kind of fulfilling the role of Henri, his ancestor, and so to make him the first of his kind of makes Henri less significant, which is just another example of this game not really understanding the titles it's trying to homage and trying to pay respects to.
Whoa. Huh?
I don't like the peasantry being referred to as sheep. I think it's weird when Christians do it. I think it's weird when Crom does it. I mean, even peasantry is kind of derogatory, if technical. This also kind of establishes Robin's primary character trait of overreacting to the ridiculous things that happen around him. It happens in his supports. It happens here. His primary role is overreact to the things that happen to him, and that's a very weak sort of character trait. To be fair, I guess you could say that it's part of a Japanese archetype of Tsukume and Bokeh, where he's playing the Tsukume part, but not something you want to base a whole character around.
Oh.
Unless you're going for a silly tone like Setokai Yaku in Domo. I think does that okay, because it's just constant ridiculousness and sex jokes. So you're kind of expecting it to be a bit sillier. I don't think it fits here.
Hey.
Anytime. There we go.
Welcome home.
Crom, a zombie apocalypse just happened.
Thank you.
It's all right.
Forgive me.
No.
What? Oh.
Forgive me.
Crom?
Yes.
Oh.
It is really easy to win these guys' faith.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Yes, my lord.
Yeah, see, the bandit problems are gone for the moment, but there's a zombie apocalypse happening, and I feel like this game doesn't really account for that. It's just something so that you can have enemies that you fight and kill guilty-free without killing real people.
Yes.
But more on that later.
Good.
But you know what? As far as scenes go, that one wasn't terrible. I mean, I've been complaining constantly about the non-stop silliness, and that you need to establish a serious baseline in order for there to be any credence to what you have to say. And that did it. So, you know, and yeah, it's not the worst scene. It just has all of the continuous problems that Awakening does. It's just, you know, you'd think the zombie apocalypse would be a bigger threat, but it's not, because it can't be, because then that would take the focus away. But it is kind of important, and that's why they go to Regina Ferro, or however you pronounce it, Regina Falanchi. Anywho, we got sports now. Oh, supports.
My lord. Good. Ah. Really? No. Forgive me. Really? Well...
So here's the problem with supports in Awakening. Again, just like with the main story, it's not that they're silly. That's not the problem. It's not that they can't be ridiculous. It's not that you can't have that. It's the volume of them. And I don't just mean how many there are, I mean the proportion as well. I don't know for certain, but I feel like there are a greater number of quote-unquote silly supports than there are to more serious supports, which is a shame onto its... or there's a greater proportion of them as compared to previous games, I should say. And that's a shame, because some of the serious supports are really good. Gaius has a good support with Crom. Virion has some good supports with Panay, and he has an alright one with Olivia. And he has a decent one with Frederick. There's even some good stuff in, you know, Virion's support with a wet fart. But too many of them rely on the primary personality trait of the characters, and a lot of the characters are very one note. Two, if we're feeling charitable, and even when they have other personality traits, they don't dominate. And because support conversations are unlimited, they're not, you know, you're not limited to 5 like you were with the GBA and the Tellius title. Well, Path of Radiance, I should say. You're constantly inundated with silliness. So again, it's not the patented humor moments. It's how many there are, how frequent they are, what proportion of the conversation it is. Because I would bet that by volume, dedicated funny scenes make up probably half, if not more, of this game's text, including story and supports and everything. And that's unfortunate. You know, it's... And, you know, a lot of when I first played this game, I didn't have a problem with them. And I even found some charming or you know, oh well, it's silly and that's great because it's silly and all of that. But as I played more games, as I've gotten older, not only do I have a greater problem because there's not an equal part of serious moments that have something significant to say, it's also that a lot of the humor just isn't good. Like, take this scene. Compare Frederick's actions to any other Jagan or Oife in the series. Can you imagine Seth doing this to either Erica or Ephraim? Can you imagine Titania doing it to Ike? What about Marcus to Elliewood? Soth to Micaiah I could see because Soth has a weird thing for her. And he's dumber. But that's about it. And the implication is that Frederick is a weird sycophant. And that kind of harms the perception of him being, you know, right-hand man to the heir apparent. So, yeah.
Huh?
And then Crom also gets to overreact to the ridiculous things that happen around him.
Indeed. Listen.
Crom.
Right.
Huh? Hey. Huh? No. Yeah.
No. Right.
Oh.
Yes.
See, look at that. Look at how wonderful that was. You got to see, characters expressing a view of the world and an ideology, and there's, there's two characters learning more about each other. That's great. That's, it's not stellar. It's not groundbreaking. But if more supports in Awakening had that level of decorum, that level of sincerity, I wouldn't be talking about supports as much. Granted, he gets ruined in the female support for, some C-list ecchi manga, humor moments, but like that's really nice. Granted, if I am allowed to complain, that should have been part of the main story, and the support should have been a way to build upon that. Which, I guess that does well enough. I'm not going to complain too much. That's a good support. Like, not just for this game. That by itself is good. It a wet fart doesn't do anything. They just ask questions. But Crom gets to talk about his view of the world, and that's great. So, yeah.
Shall we then?
Let's go.
Right.
Well, Whoa.
Well,
Oh,
yes.
no. um,
Well,
Another perfectly serviceable support. You know, got a little too ridiculous with our master technician using thunder magic on a tree to light a fire rather than just a clump of wood on the ground, and Frederick has a weird obsession with pebbles, but you know, it's not too bad, it's not too ridiculous. Yeah, that's good. I like that. So, good job. Can't remain that positive though.
Huh? What?
hey! Oh, please.
You won't believe this. Well,
Huh?
ta-da! What? Captain!
Huh?
Is this amusing? I hope you're amused.
Hey!
Huh?
Yes.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm?
Captain!
Well,
Huh?
hmm.
Oh, thank you.
Are you ready?
So yeah, how do you like the shepherds? They all have to begin with their exaggerated anime one-note personalities. even when they have more interesting things to say. Maribel has some really good supports. She has a good one with Rickon. She has a good one with Libra. Her one with Donald is okay. Vike, his support with Muriel, that isn't bad. Kellum, we can't forget about Kellum, because he's so memorable. He has a good support with Panay as well. Yeah, pretty good, at least. Definitely his best. And Sumia. Sumia has Scrum, Gaius. Yeah. Just like I said last time, by beginning with the ridiculous lightheartedness, that's the baseline you set. And unfortunately for a lot of those characters, that's the baseline that remains. And so their moments of sincerity or depth are the exception rather than the rule. And that's unfortunate. But let's continue on.
Wait for me.
What?
No. Hey.
Are you amused? Are you amused by Vake forgetting his things? Is this fun? Is this humor?
Come on.
And Vake is about food. Yeah, there's a zombie apocalypse. Be more concerned about it.
Huh?
Right. Enter the Vake.
Okay. So, you know what this game would have benefited from? Base conversations. Wouldn't it have been nice to keep all of the serious stuff in the main story, and then all of the silly moments with the silly characters can be in conversations that you can skip if you want to? I mean, you can skip it with the start button, but you can just not go through, base conversations if they're 1 star. They don't contain anything useful, and the game even tells you that. It's just for character. It's segmented away, like I said it should be. So here's Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is better than Chapter 1 in terms of map design. It does feel a little directionless at first. It feels like they just placed a bunch of enemies here, and they just... The top side is better. I will say that, but this front bit just seems very directionless. And one thing I didn't talk too much about last time, which is going to be apparent here, because I mentioned I liked Crom's dual strike and his charm. I like veteran for tacticians. I even kind of like miracle, even if it doesn't work mechanically. It works for holy characters. That's fine. I like discipline and outdoor fighter. Again, Fates did Outdoor Fighter better because they realized that plus 10 hit and avoid in under certain circumstances is not a very interesting way to make supports. But then you have skills like HP plus 5 and skill plus 2. And these are bad skills because they're just stat increases. A skill should be something that gives you a power that you wouldn't otherwise get. This is just increasing numbers. And one of the problems with Awakening's skill system is, you know, I like skills. I like skills. They give a lot of character. They give a lot of interesting things to the game. But Awakening kind of broke them because every class has to get the same number of skills at the same intervals. And what happens with that is you get a lot of pointless skills. You get a lot of skills that, like, there's always going to be disparity in any system that you create, but it's really apparent with Awakening because plus 2 skill is meaningless next to, you know, adjacent allies or paired up allies attacking 10% more often, or, you know, this is, plus 2 skill is replaceable. If you get 2 skill level ups, or 2 more than you would on average, you've gotten skill plus 2. And so in that regard, it's a very lackluster skill. But that's enough talking. Let's get into this. And like I say, this is better than Chapter 1. It does feel... I spent a lot of my early playthroughs turtling, and I don't want to do that if I can avoid it. So I think what I'm gonna do... Okay, let me see here. So you can do 9 and 8. That's not enough. 9, 8, and 7. That could work. That would leave you... No, it wouldn't. Okay. So then... Okay. Alright, I think I got a plan here. So, first thing, destroy this guy with Frederick. Ooh, still getting slowed down on those combat animations. Okay, so now... Oh, there's a forest there as well. I don't want to give... I guess... Put Sully here, because he'll do... Well, he's 15, so he'll do... 7 if she's in the woods. He'll do 7. I'm not going to double, because that doesn't happen in this game. Yeah, we'll put you there. And then use Viren here. And that would give him the force, but yeah. Okay, that seems good. And then give that to Stall, and that will... He gets surrounded, though. Why does he only have 6 speed? See, that's the problem with a lot of these, the Shepherd units, I feel. They have the same sort of problem that Edward from Radiant Dawn does. Like, their growths are good, like Edward's, but if they miss a couple of level ups and key skills, they're going to get horribly outpaced by the enemy.
Very nice.
I do also wish that the horses change colors along with the individual outfits, because you can see the little shield things on his side. I'd use the technical term, but there's no technical term for that. They have a green imprint. I wish his horse had that as well. Anyway, so that's fine if you do that. And Cron's pretty tanky, so I think we'll do this. That's good. And move everyone else up. Okay, that's good. Because then so is only going to get attacked once. It does feel really bad that they're doing more damage than a unit this early. But hey, that's Awakening. And that's good. So again, they're going to spread out because of the way I've positioned everybody. Level up. Hope for a better one this time. There we go. That's a better one. Okie dokie. That's all good. Those guys move in, which is unfortunate. And here's Muriel. Proof that having interesting things to say does not make you interesting. Wow. They really made a character like Muriel. Like I said, she has some interesting things to say, but she is not an interesting character in her own right. She really feels like this Sheldon Cooper model of making a smart character, which I detest. Yeah, and +2 magic is the mage skill, and she has E rank tomes, and man, at least you can trade and then attack, so that's good. It is funny when you get a dual strike with Vake, because then he'll use his axe, and then the dialogue will appear of him having his axe.
Beware.
That's good.
Divide and conquer.
Okay, heal up. Only 11 HP, that's not ideal. And you can't make it to a fort, not unless I clear both of those guys. Damage. Yeah, let's do that. Because I can use Frederick just to nuke one of these guys, get him out of the way. And I can probably... I'm going to use the rapier just for the extra accuracy. Good. Who has a vulnerary? Lissa does. Okay. So... Nope.
Learn your lesson.
Okay. That's one way to deal with it. Again, I really wish it had been, you know, every time. Fates really enhanced things by having it be automatic, but hey, take what you can get. I think I'm going to... How do I want to do this? I think I just want to destroy this guy with Frederick. Sounds good.
Alas for you.
And he's fine there. I guess I'll put you there. Lissa will be safe. And that seems good.
Quick and dirty. I like it.
All right, yeah. Heal up Sully. That's good. And everyone here. I guess I most want to give it to Crom. Well, I'm going to use Frederick to bait out that guy. And doing this gives Crom better accuracy, even if Lissa can't dual strike. Nice, nice.
Finished?
Another level for Crom. Okay, I'll take it. If you're gonna get 3 stats, those are some good 3 stats to get. And I'll use Stall. Yes, yes, Stall. Yes, 16. That's gonna be 7 damage. Yeah, that seems good. And I'll put Wet Fart here and you there. And Muriel can be useful. Yeah, just move everybody up. I don't really like this bridge. I mean, I guess it's demonstrating choke points, and I should be grateful that it's doing it without explaining it, like having a multiple dialogue boxes from Frederick saying that, oh, it would be good to, you know, but you have the superior numbers at this point, and so it actually is an advantage to the enemy, which if they took advantage of it would be kind of cool. Like if the guys who started here were stationary, and so, you know, you weren't able to take advantage of that, that'd be neat. But as it stands, it just reduces your options, which I don't think is the intention. Well, hello. Okay. That does activate everyone else, and it's one of the occasions that I don't mind.
My lord. Right. Well, what?
Why would you ever do this? No, don't ever do that. Don't rely on the computer for strategy for your strategy games. Okay. I'd like to get that iron sword on Stall if I could, and if I'd like to get the iron lance on Sully if I could. So 9. You're not in range. That was a mistake. Guess putting you there wouldn't be terrible. 9, 8, and then 7. That'd be enough. Let's see, does Frederick one-shot both of these? Yes, he very much does. Does Crom? Crom is not in range. But if I put Crom here and then use Muriel, then there's a 33% chance that he will do something. And 15, 12 with 9 is not a kill. Or not, that's fine. It's not that I would like to be able to rely on things like that. Ooh. Okay. Oh, I'm glad we got one of these. So, New Mystery did this too, but Awakening just has a whole bunch of weapons. And this one isn't too bad, but a lot of them feel pointless. And I'm not even talking about like the joke weapons. It's just a lot of them feel pointless. Which is a shame. Wow. Okay. I don't normally get good levels on Sully.
Right. You up for this?
That's not great. Oh, and he kills. But Stall's not gonna kill. So... no, that's not good. That's not good enough. Yeah, whatever. Give it to Bake. That's fine. So then, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the bronze lance from Sully, and I think I'm gonna equip that. No, I think I'm gonna leave this. No. Probably should check the numbers first. I'm gonna use the lance. And then I think I'm just gonna Frederick this guy. It's like Frederick isn't a great long-term prospect, especially once his silver lance breaks. Like he, ooh. Well, that's perfect then. Although now he's gonna miss. Probably. Oh, nice one, Sully. Now Stall gets the kill. And I think that's a level for him. Yeah, that's what you get out of Stall. 6 base speed. Doesn't need that, does he? Okay. So... 8% crit, don't like that. Does he have... Yeah, he has Gamble. Which, like, that's a neat skill. It reduces your hit and gives you 10 crit, though. That's neat. I like that. It's much better than, like, Gamble was in Tellius. I think we're gonna chip with Furion. That seems good. More XP for Tom.
Well fought.
More XP for Lissa. And I think... That's fine. I'll take that. I would like it if I could end this turn. So that's 22. That's not enough. I kind of don't care if Muriel dies. And there's a chance Frederick could get a dual strike. So I think I'm going to do this first. Wait a minute, that would be an exact kill.
Inconceivable.
Well, I just said I don't care if Muriel dies. Uh-oh. I should put Muriel in the thumbnail now. Oh. Okay. Guess we're not using Muriel. God. Yes. Use this. And then you also could get crit, which would be bad. Okay. What's the chance that I could get crit twice?
My turn.
Hey, perfect. I can't believe Muriel got crit. Oh, I swear I didn't do that intentionally. Like, I wasn't going to use Muriel a long time. I wasn't going to pair her up with anyone to get Laurent, but that's really funny. I'm actually going to move Frederick in. Oh. I'm so glad that happened. Okay, well, that's workable. So this actually brings me up to a point that I didn't think I was going to bring up this quickly, but the death of Iron Manning So there have always been characters in Fire Emblem games who are tied to additional content. So like if you lost, what's a good example? If you lost Bartray, you can't get Carla in Hector Heart mode. Or I think if you... What's another example? If you lose... I don't know, Rolf in Path of Radiance, you don't get Shinon. And then there's, Soren-specific events that require him to be alive and have supports with people in Radiant Dawn. But when having a character alive ties you to getting a whole chapter, then things are different. And again, it's not uncommon. It's not unheard of in previous Fire Emblem games, but characters like me, all parent characters are obviously tied to their respective children's paralogs. And unlike genealogy, there's no substitutes, which is something I was going to get into later. So the fact that I've lost Muriel means that I've now lost out on a chapter where I could get experience and items and a new unit, and that's the same for every other unit. And so, like, I'm not huge into Iron Man's, but I think Fire Emblem is better when you have the opportunity to say, well, that character died and that's unfortunate, and I definitely suffered the consequences of my actions. But this isn't a fail state. I can keep going. The game provides me with enough things to do it, and I'm not missing out on something as a result of it. Like, I played Shadow Dragon, and I gave up on that game, I think on chapter 16, the chapter where you get Zane. But something neat that happened in that game was, from a very morbid standpoint, is I had Wolf die. And I thought, okay, guess we're not using him then. And it made me happy in a certain way because... yeah, I was still sad that I lost a character that I was using and was making use of, but I wasn't punished severely for that. To the point where, like if I had lost Bantu, I couldn't have gotten Tiki. And yeah, so there are definitely examples in prior games, but they really cranked it up to 11 in this game. So yeah, Muriel's dead. And nothing of value was lost. Okay, Crom, you don't need to be jubilant about it. Well, Frederick did say they need to be wary. So Frederick the Wary needed to be wary, so he reminded Crom. So Frederick the Wary reminded Crom that they needed to be wary. So that was chapter 2. And just like last time, I think this will be our end point. So thank you for joining me. I hope you laughed when Muriel died, 'cause I did. I've been Jake. This has been Fire Emblem Awakening. Have a good one.